Hey guys, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. It's Daryl here. It is 4 a.m. bright and early here on Thanksgiving morning here in Connecticut on the East Coast, Thanksgiving 2020. Before I get into the video, I heard something fantastic, a fantastic quote, and this is from a homeless person in New York. It was on the CBS News this morning, and the reporter asked how this person was going to spend their Thanksgiving. Remember, this was somebody that was at a food donation shelter, and he said he's going to spend it sitting on a park bench by himself, thinking about his last 63 great Thanksgivings. And then he went on to say how lucky he was to have 63 fantastic Thanksgivings, and this will be his 64th. And he's going to spend this one thinking about how lucky he's been to have 63 out of 64 fantastic Thanksgivings with his family and normal Thanksgivings. Not to say, I try to stay optimistic and say, they believe that, I think this Thanksgiving could always be a lot worse than we perceive it. But it was a fantastic quote, man. I love that. He's gonna spend it being thankful for the last 63 Thanksgivings that he was blessed with. Wow. That made my day. That set the tone for my Thanksgiving today. All right, a little lighter note today, what I'm going to talk about. And ever since I saw pictures of the bunkered down, the hermit Trump over the last 3 weeks, now he's looked different. And I mentioned this in a video. Now, I'm going to talk about this because it's a little lighter tone for Thanksgiving. I don't want to pick something that's too heavy, but it's also serious, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. All right, so he's looked different, without a doubt. Without a doubt, his face, his facial features, and not just his and it's not just the difference between a smile and a frown. It's more than that. His whole face looks different. His hair looks different. Yes, Donald Trump has stopped dyeing his hair. Now, most people that I haven't talked to anybody else at addiction. I'm going to go to a meeting tomorrow on Friday, and I'm going to try to bring it up and see what other recovering addicts think about this. The first thing I thought, now, if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know what I've said, and I'm not saying this to be a liberal pain in the ass or whatever, but I truly believe that Donald Trump, being the narcissistic person that he is, has a real addiction to the adulation, to these rallies. When he gets in front of him, you can see it start to hit him, and he gets ramped up and he gets that hit. And then he just starts bam, bam, and he's on that euphoric high. You see it. I see it clear as day. All right. And I've talked about this. I talked about when he got sick on COVID, that he'd be going through withdrawals. And within a day, not even a day or two, he's out in that limo with it, going around the limo. He's got to get that fix, and I am not kidding around about this. I sincerely, I'm not, I'll say, I say this every day. I'm not this kind of expert. I'm not that kind of expert. I'm not a mental health or addiction specialist expert, but I recognize things I've been through. All right. So let me talk about his hair. All right. It's plain as day. It's plain as day, man. He looks like a different person. He looks, I'm not going to say older, because he never looked that young to me, but he looks different. All right, let me talk about the hair. I see this as part of withdrawal. When I used to, I was addicted to substances my whole life. After I got 2 back operations, opiates were never my choice, but then they became, once you mess with them, it changes you forever. It does. Once you mess with the big H, you never go back to normal. You never remember. It's like, man, I hate to say this, but it's like, the first time you have intimate relations. It's something you'll never forget, and your mind always wants to go back to hide in that warm place. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but it's the truth. All right. So when, and I would go through these cycles where I'd get some money. It would go, it didn't matter how much it was, and I'd go up and then I'd go down. I'd run out and I would hole up in my house. Because people that haven't gone through withdrawals don't understand that it's, you say you're sick. It's an emotional, mental, it hits you on every level, but especially mental. My mind was like, it was like it wasn't wired right. I would start thinking weird stuff. When I say you can't sleep, I mean not a wink. I mean, and then you fidget, you get the restless leg syndrome. It's unimaginable torture for days. But here's what I'm going to talk about. During this period, there's no way you feel very antisocial, of course. The last thing you'd rather anything than talk to anybody, to be sociable with anyone at that point. And it's more than you just don't look good. It's the most antisocial feeling I've ever had in my life. I remember looking out my window. I had been awake for a few days, and I could see the Cumberland Farm across the street, and it was about 7 a.m. in the morning, and the people were gassing up their cars to go to work. And I remember looking at those people, and I felt so I was so apart from who they were. I couldn't imagine going to work and standing at that gas pump and getting coffee. I felt like I wasn't even part of life. It was a terrible feeling. I felt so, I don't know what the word is, distracted, disorientated, detached from the world. And it was a horrible feeling. It was like I was watching a movie and I could never get back into it. I felt so alienated. It was a terrible feeling. And I remember you have no urge for physical upkeep. And not only that you don't have the energy, I mean like taking showers, washing your hair, dyeing your hair, shaving, washing the clothes. And it's not the fact, I mean, I couldn't walk up five stairs. Seriously, after not eating and not sleeping for days, you can't do anything. You barely stand up. But this is the part that I'm associating with Trump, that as soon as I saw him not dyeing his hair and kind of bunkering down the White House, it reminded me so much of me. And I wouldn't upkeep myself. I wouldn't, dye my hair or put on nice clothes, because not just because I didn't have the energy, but because I didn't want to be noticed, because it was an antisocial feeling, because I didn't want people to see me. I wanted to be a ghost at that point. You know what I mean? And I mean, it was a lot of feelings, but it wasn't just that I didn't have the energy or the will to fix myself up. It's like it's almost a wish to be done with life too. There's a lot of levels to it, but I remember just wanting to be a ghost. I didn't want to go out in public and have people talk to me. I didn't want to go out in public at all, but I just didn't want to. You don't even want to exist. It's such a terrible, depressing feeling. And when I saw him stop dyeing his hair, first time in ever we've seen Donald Trump do this, and I'm not saying this to make fun of him. I'm just saying, I've seen this because I've gone through it with Donald Trump when he got COVID-19, when he came out in the car to get another hit of the adulation. And now, especially with this not dyeing his hair, it just reminded me so much. This man is so arrogant, so ego-possessed, so narcissistic. The thought of him, and it's a stark look. You spot it right away. And he knows this. But for some reason, he's not dyeing it. I'm telling you, this is what it is. It's a withdrawal. He is withdrawing from everything that was giving him that narcissistic high. The people, the rallies, the adulation, and it's a depression. Without a doubt, it's a withdrawal depression that he's in right now. Okay, so next. What happens next? I started thinking about this, before I started making this video. Well, there's two paths he can take now. He could rough it out And if I'm going to keep with this addiction analogy, it's not really an analogy though. And he could, after I roughed it out, I ended up getting stronger and I became free of my addiction. But it's a long ride. It's a long, rough road. And they told me several different recovery houses I was in. I was in over 13 different recovery places and detox places, over 13. And almost everyone gave me the same statistic that only 2 people out of 34 will stay clean and sober for a year. And then more than that, it goes down even more. So your chances are very low. I've made it over 14 years now. So I think this is why I pray every day. This is why I meditate every day. I feel like there's got to be a freaking reason. People ask me how I did it, and I don't even know. I don't even know what to tell them. I don't even think it was all me. But anyway, so if he keeps withdrawing, maybe he'll get into a stage of recovery. I don't have high hopes for this, that he will kind of move past his arrogant, narcissistic, ego-driven personality and perhaps become more cognizant of what he was doing in the last 4 years and try to improve himself. But like I said, I don't have high hopes for that. I think very few people do that. What more than likely happens is he goes on a bender. He jumps back into it in a relapse. And a lot of times when people do that, they overindulge. And fatally, a lot of times. But, keeping with the analogy, that would mean that sooner or later, he's going to come out swinging. Probably, if this comparison holds true, he's going to come out in the next week or month, or probably right after the January 20th. All looking dyed up and strong and, ready for the buzz again. I anticipate that. I anticipate him holding a rally. I guarantee he will hold a rally. Mark my words, in January. That's my bet. That's his relapse. That's his falling off the wagon. His, just jumping back into the addiction full force. I wish him the best. I don't. All right. You guys have a good Thanksgiving.